Hey guys, Fox here. So, just had the pleasure of getting back this past weekend from the Midwest Gaming Classic. It was my second time going because I went last year. I had a great time and also got to go with the same group of gentlemen as last year. And that would be Alex from Return to Mother Base, Bobby from Man Boy Cave, and Aaron 22. So it was an absolute blast. And I know Man Boy Cave released his pickup video here recently, and I completely agree with one of the things that he said. And that was that it seemed like just an entirely different batch of games to fish through. And his observations were just really on point. The fact that there was so much NES, I mean crazy amounts of NES, and not just regular NES, I mean tons of boxed games too. Nothing I was very much looking for, at least not this time. Again, much like Bobby, I did a lot of hunting for a list of stuff that I had. Granted, I only found a few things on my list, and the rest is a bunch of other stuff I kind of wanted. But I did find quite a few things. So let's go ahead and get this going. And first up was a couple of things that Alex picked up for me from the Nintendo store in New York. So first up, he grabbed me this Mario enamel pin, because I love my enamel pins. And he got me two amiibos that I kind of wanted for my collection, and they're both Pokemon related. One is Charizard, and the other is Ivysaur. I wanted these. I already had Squirtle, but for some reason I never picked these up. So they will be opened. I don't really keep mini amiibos in their packaging anymore. I like to display them small figures where I can. It's just the packages get too big, unless it's something I really want to keep in a package, which is not very many. So, all right. And there was a couple of Game Boy games. Give me a second here to find them that I also got. Well, I bought from Alex. He was trying to get rid of a couple things, and he had a couple of, I'd say, rare, maybe uncommon Game Boy games here that I was looking for. One is Great Greed, which is a pretty interesting little RPG. Horribly written, but it's still actually kind of fun. I actually ended up, when I got back and I was testing all the handheld games I picked up from the show in the Analog Pocket, and I ended up playing this for like 30 minutes. So I was enjoying myself. The other one is Roland's Curse 2. So yeah, these are some rare ones, so I was very happy to get these from Alex and add them to the Game Boy collection. So let's start off with some pickups on the Game Gear. First one is Tailspin. I popped this one in real quick, and it's pretty much a little platformer, and it's not great. But it kept my interest to want to keep going and giving it a try, because I got some other games in here that just not good. But it's fun to listen to the Tailspin theme song on the Game Gear. It sounds fantastic. And I'm being sarcastic, of course. But yeah, the platforming was wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't terribly exciting. But I need to give it some more time. Obviously, I only played it for like 5 minutes, so I'll give it some more play later. Next up is Quest for the Shaven Yak, starring Ren Hoke and Stimpy. I don't know why they did Ren, Hoke, and Stimpy instead of just Ren and Stimpy on this. Not 100% sure on that. Also came with the manual, which is pretty cool. Interesting thing about this one's also a little platformer. Actually, kind of enjoyed this one. It was, it was kind of fun. It wasn't too bad, especially for a Game Gear platforming game. So, yeah, good time. And the last Game Gear pickup is Tom and Jerry the movie in the box. Really nice condition box. This was the price. I'll be honest with you. Every game I bought at the show, I haggled down. And if they didn't want to haggle, I just kind of walked away. It just felt like a good thing to do, to just save myself a few bucks and put it towards a different game, stuff like that. So that was my goal, and I achieved that while I was there. Anyway, the game. Another platformer. This seems to be my theme here for the Game Gear this year. Was actually rather difficult. It looks really good for Game Gear. I mean, there's lots of great environments. They did a really good job with the backgrounds and the character sprites, all that. It looks amazing, but it is pretty damn hard. I couldn't even get past the first level. Now, mind you, if I gave it a few more tries, I probably would. It's just, 5 minutes in, I could tell you it's pretty difficult, but it looks great. All right, so let's go to Game Boy. And I got a few loose carts here that I didn't have in the collection. I didn't get to play all these. But we have Torpedo Range with some damage in the middle there. Never played this one. Don't know a lot about it, but it's probably just a submarine game. This one I actually have never seen, so I was happy to find this, and it is a Gradius Interstellar Assault. And here's one that kind of upset me. It's not the game itself, but it's Final Fantasy Adventure. But I was haggling this down from a booth. He had it marked clearly a little way too high, and I was about to walk away, and he's like, well, how much do you want to pay for it? And I said, 40. And he was like, lowest I could do is 50. And I was looking at price charting and stuff like that, and I was like, that's fair. So I went ahead and bought it for the 50. And then I went, probably not 20 minutes later, I found this game at another booth marked at 35. I was like, God damn it. But, oh well, that's how it goes sometimes. But anyway, got my copy of Final Fantasy Adventure. I believe this is one of the... what is it? Not a mana game, is it? I can't quite remember. One of you will probably correct me in the comments. But yeah, it's like a little action RPG. And then here's a terrible game, because I played this one. And it is The Simpsons Bart and the Beanstalk. It looks pretty bad, and it plays pretty bad. But I love my Simpsons games, and I try to get all of them. So I had to pick it up. And what sucks is this one is a pretty uncommon Simpsons game. So it holds quite a bit of value, especially going along with the manual that I got here. I will probably play this a little bit more to see if it gets any better. I doubt it, but you never know. Now, let's see here. Manuals, a bunch of manuals I picked up. Got these real loose. This was the first night. Even the vendor hall wasn't open, but like Bobby said in his video, there was one charity booth opened in the arcade room, and they were allowed to sell that night because all their proceeds were going to charity. And they had a bunch of manuals, so I was fishing through them, and they were a really good price, pretty much $1 a piece. So I picked up Tetris 2 for the Game Boy. I picked up Motocross Maniacs, Judge Dredd, Battleship, and a couple NES manuals, Duck Hunt, and Hogan's Alley, which I don't even have. I might have this game. I'm not sure. I'll have to go look. And then these were some other manuals I found throughout the show to add to the Super Nintendo collection. And one is Gradius 3. That's a pretty sweet manual, if you ask me. At least the album, the cover art is. That's really cool. And then I picked up a manual for Final Fantasy II. It's quite beat up, but it is together, so that's what counts. So all you Final Fantasy IV fans, this is awesome. These manuals were great because they're all in color and everything. Let me get the other handheld releases here. So I got a few boxed Game Boy games to add to the collection. One is Kirby's Dream Land 2. This is the player's choice version, but that doesn't bother me too much. I got this for a pretty decent deal, as the side of the box here is pretty roughed up. We got a tear there and a little separation from the glue on the side. But the rest of the box is pretty decent. But this is a fun Kirby. It's a little different from the first one, obviously, because you had your little buddies that you could ride and stuff like that. But yeah, I got this for a pretty good price. I think I ended up paying $90 for it. It's complete with a manual, so now I'll have the game to trade or sell off. Next one is that, you know, what surprises me is that these games and their boxes are actually going for a decent amount. Anyway, this is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So I had a goal of trying to find some Home Alone games. This is the only one I could find at a price I was willing to pay. Complete in box for $40. But I was looking for, you know, all the other ones. I was trying to find them on the NES and the Super Nintendo as well. But man, they were just asking a little too much. Like the NES one for the box copy, they're like 50 plus. I was like, no. It's not a great game. I just kind of want it for the nostalgia, you know. As a kid growing up in this era, loving the Home Alone movies, I just kind of want them for some nostalgic value and just to enjoy really cruddy games. But I actually haven't played this Game Boy one. I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. Maybe I'll pop it in during Christmas time. Picked up a really nice box copy of Looney Tunes. This is complete as well. This one looks pretty well detailed from the screenshots, so I'm sure it's not bad. It's probably not good either. Picked up this lovely green 7-Up Spot game. It's not like the normal Spot platformers that you folks are probably familiar with. This one just looks like a variation of Go, but maybe not, because you see these little square bits on the grid, so it might be a little different, but it kind of looks like Go. So it's a puzzle game, I think, is what they're classifying it as. But yeah, that was cool to get, especially I like that 7-Up theme. I did pick up a couple of Lynx games, which I'm happy to do, because now that I have the cartridge adapter for the Analog Pocket, now I can play some Lynx titles. So I found a couple that I know are pretty good, at least from what other people have told me. And first one up is Rampart, and this box art's pretty awesome. So yeah, seeing on the list that this is one of the better games to play on the system, and there was a whole booth selling a bunch of boxed Lynx games, so I was so happy to find it and grab a couple titles to include Rampart and Chips Challenge. A lot of folks are familiar with Chips Challenge. I remember playing Chips Challenge on the computer when I was a kid, so this is kind of cool to be able to play on the handheld here. however simple it is, but it should be pretty fun. But yeah, people seem to like this. I'll open this one up so I can show a cartridge here. Most people have seen these, but they're pretty much like cue cards. Small, thin, little game cartridges. They're kind of cool. Alright, and next, Bobby was complaining about this in his video, that I sniped this one from him. Caught him slipping, or whatever you want to say. And for the PlayStation, I picked up a copy of Vandal Hearts. This is one he was looking for, but it was also on my list as well. But I found this for a cool $50 after haggling with a guy, and most of the show you found them for around $70-$75, and he was trying to get a copy, and the other one that he found for $50 had a pretty messed up manual. So this one's nice and clean, and I'm happy. Bobby's not. But on another note, Bobby did find a really cheap copy of Vandal Hearts 2, so he did win in that aspect. And let's see here, we got Turbo Graphics game. Oh, this is one that Alex picked up for me that he found in New York during one of his game hunting trips. And he picked this up for me, and it's Final Zone 2 on Turbo Graphics. So there we have it. I have not played this game. I'm not sure a lot about it, but it looked pretty cool. I will probably pop it in soon. I just haven't had enough time to at least test a lot of these games. These next two games I do want to test, but I'm a little worried. I got these pretty cheap. I don't know if I've put this on YouTube yet, but I did end up picking up a Neo Geo CD system from Steve-O Supremo on YouTube. And he gave it to me for a pretty reasonable price, as it was missing a controller and it really couldn't be game tested. It did read CDs, so that was good. So I went ahead and bought it. I ordered a controller on eBay. It still hasn't come yet. It should be here in a couple days. But I needed a couple games for it. And finding Neo Geo CD games, even at a convention of that size, was near impossible. I found one booth with like 3 games, so I picked up 2 of them for fairly cheap. One is Samurai Spirits. These are Japanese ones. I couldn't find a single North American release for Neo Geo CD. I might have to resort to eBay to find a couple games for at least US releases. Most of you know Samurai Spirits. It's Samurai Showdown in the States. But I picked this up, but I was a little concerned because these were in plastic wrappers when I was buying them. So I was looking at them pretty quickly, and these manuals, the backside of these manuals are pretty grody. Just sucks. And I was looking at the discs, and they're a little beat up. Not terrible. I could probably clean them up, but you can see all the lines on them. I'm hoping these will work. If they don't work, that sucks. I'll be out probably, what did I pay? I'll be out $45. Not terrible, because I paid $45 for both of them. The other one's King of Fighters 97 here. But yeah, that would stink. Yeah, see, this manual is kind of grody as well. Must have came from the same collector who did some weird stuff. But this one's got some wicked scratches up there. You could see them as the light shines on it. So I'll try to clean up the backs of these discs before I pop them in as best as I can. So hopefully they still work. We'll find out. Maybe I can bring them over to a shop with a good resurfacer. Got a few PSP things here. One that was on my list, and that is Lunar Silver Star Harmony. Now, I would have preferred to have the one with the big Xseed box, soundtrack and all that, but this will do for now. I enjoyed this version of Lunar. It's definitely not the best one. I still prefer PlayStation and even Sega CD over this one. But this one did have cool quality of life features when it came to like the battle system and cleaned up animations and stuff like that. That was nice. Yeah, I was happy to get this, and some of these PSP RPGs are starting to creep back up again. You know, they were falling for a little while, but I think they're going back up. PSP is becoming a little more desirable now. Another game I needed to pick up, as I only had a UMD copy of this, and that is The Legend of Heroes 3 Song of the Ocean. This was the only one I didn't have an actual case for, so this one was complete, or is rather. I did not pay no $185, I can tell you that. I didn't pay that either. I got it for $100, so I thought that was a pretty decent deal. But yeah, finally have the original US release Legend of Heroes trilogy finally complete in the collection, so that's awesome. Picked up one UMD movie, even though I saw quite a few others. People seem to be marking these up higher in prices now, and I'm not really one to pay more than $3 for a UMD movie. But I did pick up The Butterfly Effect. You all familiar with this one? Ashton Kutcher and Amy Smart. That's actually a pretty good movie. But yeah, add that to the movie collection. I picked up one premium edition games game that looked pretty interesting. It's kind of like a puzzle platformer kind of game. And that's Eagle Island Twist. I thought this would be kind of fun. And I love these thick slipcase special premium edition releases. So happy to add this to the collection here. One Sega Saturn title, and unfortunately not Sega Ages, which is one of the games I needed for my Working Designs collection. But I did pick up some Working Design stuff at the show. But I'm not going to show it in this video. I'm going to wait for my next video when I do a Working Designs hunt update video. So sorry, I will show those later. But anyway, for the Sega Saturn, I picked up Last Gladiators. This is a digital pinball game. Like some of these old pinball games, they're kind of fun. And this game was nice and cheap. I think it was like $15. So it'll be cool to pop this in and play a little pinball on the Sega Saturn. Another game that I got from my list, because I think I sold this a while ago. I don't remember how I got rid of it. Might have traded it to somebody or something like that. Kind of sad that I did, but happy to pick it up again. And that, of course, is Lightning Force for the Sega Genesis. Love this game. Great shooter, and one with a hell of a soundtrack. Really awesome. This is Thunder Force 4, I believe. So yeah, so excited to have this one back again, because I downloaded it and was playing it on the Switch, and I was like, damn, I wish I had the original release for this. Now I do again. And the last thing is a Nintendo Power. Kind of goes along with one of the manuals I picked up, and it's a Nintendo Power featuring Final Fantasy II. Might, Mystery, and Magic. Tried to switch that so it wasn't Might and Magic. But yeah, this is volume 30, Super Nintendo, plus Game Boy Battletoads and NES Flintstones. Ooh, goody. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Real excited. You could find actually quite a few fairly cheap Nintendo Powers at the show. So really awesome. All right, guys. Those were all the pickups from the Midwest Gaming Classic in 2024. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.